What a way to make a living. Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
Alrighty, let us do this. Good morning from Paradise Surfers. My name's Crypto Amaru, joined as always by Nick, the Crypto Hitman, and it is Tuesday, July 14th. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the bulls are winning. Positivity is winning. Hope and confidence in these markets is winning. And the Panikins and the Bears are running and hiding with this inflation print coming in well below expectations. Nick, you and I predicted this. Frankly, not too difficult to predict, but it seems like many in the markets just refuse to believe that it's all going to be okay. But it's all going to be okay, guys. Inflation coming in at 3.5%. By the way, real-time actual inflation is far lower than that. Fed's still looking at old data. And the markets are loving it. The markets are loving it, and I would love to see where Kevin Warsh and the Fed decides to take things with interest rate cuts. We'll see towards the end of the year. Do we get the cuts we've been expecting? But, dude, forget about the macro for a second. Robinhood chain, Robinhood chain, Robinhood chain. Wow. Now, the second to only Solana index volume in a week. Whales are full porting millions into the top runners on Robinhood chain. This is unprecedented. This is unreal. And should be very exciting for everyone who is holding the Surf or intends to buy into the Surf presale, because we are launching on Robinhood very soon, folks.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. When Robinhood first started launch, it's like, okay, we'll see what happens. We did the whole show about it. I think it's net positive for Ethereum. It's using ETH as the native token, has a lot of retail users. Net positive, but we'll see how it goes. Then they had a couple meme runners. Cash Cat, I think, is the biggest one over there. We're like, hey, it was heavily bundled. There was activity weeks before the launch. Probably insiders trying to pump up hype and volume for Robinhood. We'll see if it has any standing power. And now it's like, well, it is having some standing power. People want to feel something again. People want the opportunity to make money again. People want a new fresh ecosystem to feel like they're early, to get early on the first DEX, the first launchpad, the first meme, the first utility plays, the first, when we've been in this downtrend for so long. And really, Bitcoin and Ethereum just staying flat, slowly grinding higher does not get you any dopamine. And it seems like now on week 2 here, with real Robinhood chain usage, I know it's been around about a month, but really this just started 2 weeks ago. It continues to trend in the right direction. Number 2 only to Solana. And you did hint at the Surf relaunch. So the Surf DAO made a heartbreaking decision. Pulse chain is too far down and to the right. And although the token economics are great for Pulse chain revival, it has made the vote. And this is what is beautiful about the DAO. The DAO decides. It's not us. It's not me. The DAO as a whole decides, the holders decide, and they are deciding to do a relaunch on Robinhood, a 1-to-1 airdrop for Surf holders on Pulse Chain, a small pre-sale raise to fund liquidity, fund marketing, and fund other ventures. And I think it could be very explosive, and maybe Surf is going to help tip Robinhood above Solana here next week.
Yeah, you know what I'm psyched about is you look around the landscape on Robinhood, and no doubt there's, I'm sure, very legit teams and builders and meme coin creators there. There's, of course, a ton of scams. But the big thing is that everyone is anonymous. I don't like that. And I get that maybe it's the new generation, everyone hides behind an avatar, and that's just what it is, and they're used to that shit. But I don't like that. If I'm going to invest into something, I want to be able to look you in the eye and be like, can I trust you, bro, or are you going to F me over? We're the only, to my knowledge, probably going to be one of the only actually doxed teams deployed on Robinhood. And so if transparency, honesty, looking someone in the eye, saying, do I like this person? Do I not like this person? If that matters to you, then grab a bag. Because I don't think anyone else is going doxxed. It's crazy, dude. Like, nobody. Why is it that? Why is that, Nick? Why is everybody so scared to just say, hey, this is me? And I get you don't want to reveal your address, your real name. You don't want someone coming to your house with a freaking hammer and stealing your crypto. I get that. But how is it that you and I are the only folks around that's willing to show our faces out here in crypto these days? What is going on?
Yeah, I think people have a lot of fear when it comes to, running a project. There's a lot of docs people, Rand Nooner, Wolf of Wall Street, B Roots, ENH, who are just influencers, making calls on projects, but there's very few people who are docs actually running projects. And the projects that are like very large, like Pengu. The founder of Pengu is live. Ethereum, ADA.
Well, sure.
It's like a lot of these new projects, when you don't have, guarantee of success, they're always afraid to show their face. And the only time they come around to reveal themselves is when the project has had immense success for extended periods of time. You can't be afraid of failure. Not everything succeeds in crypto. And really, you're by the way of market cycles. We've been involved with project stocks that have done hundreds of X's, but as soon as the market goes down and everything goes down 85%, then you're to blame, and it is what it is. But as long as you're ethically there and putting in efforts, we haven't had an issue in the ups or the downs, because quite honestly, I could have a lot more money if I just wanted to sell on your head. We have round-tripped a lot of projects we worked with, worked for, created, round-tripped them because we did not want to sell on your head, and we're making income from other means. The success of the projects brings in marketing revenue, or partnership opportunities, or other things that bring in some revenue, so we were never selling those tokens. And that's how we live by it. And could I be a lot more rich if I had less moral and ethics? Sure. But we are doxxed, and maybe I'd be living with a more looking over my shoulder if we did that as well.
Yeah, I don't need that. I like sleeping at night. I don't know. I don't like fucking people over. That's why we're giving airdrops to the folks who were in the original DAO, right? Where, we could easily be like, no, it's a whole new token. That's dead. That's done. We're not doing that. We're giving away like 30% of the supply to the old holders because that's just the right thing to do. And so look, I'm excited about Surf on Robinhood chain. Robinhood, like you said, man, people are hungry. They want something new. They want something fresh. The Solana trenches are cooked. It's just become too PvP. There's no belief, no holders, no long-term vision over there anymore. Will Robinhood chain devolve into what, the pump fund trenches became? Possibly. But I certainly hope not. We're going to do our damnedest to make sure that doesn't happen. We'd be preaching long-term mindset, years-long time horizons. That's truly what I believe in. So, it's easy to preach what you believe. Hopefully Robinhood chain stays kind of with that Ethereum ethos of let's believe, let's diamond hand, let's work together for the greater good rather than, I'm just going to try to scam you for $50, bro.
Right on cue, you were talking about Solana versus Robinhood. I just bridged my entire portfolio off Solana to Robinhood chain. 7 a.m. says, I've had enough with what feels like an endless extraction game, bridging 100,000 of Solana to Robinhood chain for 100,000 of USDC. Is that a real screenshot? I don't know, but I think that's more of a proxy of what you were talking about there, Crypto Amaru, with the endless extraction game. The reason that it feels so endless in extracting is, number one, the culture there was created, but number two, Pump Fund itself is openly, blatantly extracting and hurting your Solana price. When Solana price go down, everybody on chain lose. When Solana price go down, all meme coins and altcoins liquidity pools get dragged down to lower prices. We saw the same thing on Pulse Chain. Why are some Ethereum memes doing well? Not just on Robinhood, even on the main chain, like we saw with Melo. Ethereum price trying to grind higher, helps LP, helps momentum, helps morale, people buy. That's how this works. So if the king of the chain, for Solana chain, its soul, goes down, it makes it very hard for anything else to succeed. Pulse chain, PLS down, PLSX down, Hex down, makes it very hard for anything else to succeed. For Robinhood, they're rooting for ETH, which we know is the second largest crypto, been in a 5-year consolidation, wants to break up, and has massive institutional demand, meaning that people are going on Robinhood to launch because there's retail users, but you're also going to get institutional support as they buy up ETH and that ETH price grows. Now your alt season can happen on that chain.
That's a really great point. Solana, utility for that token, the value of that token, in my view anyway, is really tied up almost entirely to the meme sector. That's when it started to do very well. That's why people needed Solana. That was the retail chain. Its entire value proposition is really memes. Ethereum, you are well diversified. You are de-risked. Now we have memes on ETH, courtesy of Robinhood. That's kind of cool. But you also got Arbor WAs, vast majority of all the stable coins, institutional buy-in, Tom Lee, Joseph Lubin, right? We could go on and on. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to be tethering our token and our future and the success of the Surf coin directly to ETH. It's going to be a big fat liquidity pool, guys. The initial FDV is going to be $75,000. The token economics we're going to be announcing soon, but you guys who pay attention here on the stream, you get first information. 75K FDV. The initial liquidity pool is going to be 20K. Fat liquidity. Burned. Gone forever. We're here. We're doxed. We're all in on Robinhood, baby. We're all in on ETH. Let's fucking go.
This is the other thing that helps Robinhood and helps Ethereum is there's whales that hold a lot of ETH. And when you have ETH, even at less than $2,000, if you have a bunch of it, you have money to move around. It's something that we're just not seeing on Arbitrum right now, on Base Chain right now, on Pulse Chain, and then on all the other forgotten chains that we don't even need to mention. Someone just saved $1 million into cash cap in 5 different transactions. What do they know? I mean, it's pretty wild. Almost $200,000 per transaction. Boom, 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 boom. On cash cap, which many people believe will be the Doge of Robinhood chain. Now, do we know that for sure? I don't know. Did we get involved with cash cap? No. But people with big money are betting on Robinhood in a big way, saying, hey, cash cap has the first mover advantage, has the liquidity, has the hype. If Robinhood chain is going to succeed, cash cap is at least going to do multiples for me, 2, 5, 10x from current prices. That's what they're banking on. That's what they're putting nearly $1 million on. And what's crazy is you don't see these kind of apes on many other chains. Really, Ethereum, BNB, and sometimes Solana, and now Robinhood. All the other L2s, not seeing activity like this.
No, not even close. And it is because there are insanely rich Ethereum whales out there who, for whatever reason, really weren't willing to bridge to Solana and go to the trenches over there. But apparently are willing to play around in the Robinhood trenches. That's one reason why, when we're thinking about the token economics, we're opting. You can kind of go both ways, debate this. Do you want a thinner liquidity pool, perhaps creates more volatility in the price action, maybe more traders as a result? Okay, I can see that argument. But for my money, if you want to establish yourself as legit, if you want to attract, we want people from Robinhood Chain to come on the podcast, do marketing deals, et cetera, I think thick, fat liquidity, we're going to have like a 20% ratio, liquidity to FDV, which is insane. It's enormous. I think the standard is 10%, if I'm not mistaken there, Nick. So, excited for the launch, man. I'm just, I'm geeking out. I haven't felt like this inspired in a while. My wife was like, you're working so hard. It's like, what's going on? It's like, oh, well, we're relaunching the Surf token, honey. I'm back on my grind. So just excited for it, man. Excited for Surf, for Robinhood, and for the whole market. I mean, I just think we are finally transitioning out of the bear into the bull, and thank goodness for the inflation numbers cooperating with our prediction, because it's all happening, folks.
Breaking, Bitcoin hit 63,500 as the June CPI inflation falls to 3.5%, below the expectations of 3.8%. 45 million worth of shorts have been liquidated on the run-up. Of course, we're going to look at the charts. But this is what we've been talking about. If you just look at oil, okay, and then you look at my real-life experience from vending machines buying, I buy the same items every week for years, guys. So it's a pretty good indicator of what's going on in inflation for consumer goods, okay? So we look at my real-life experience, we look at oil price, and we say over and over, inflation is way down, and much lower than what the Fed is seeing. They're looking at 45-day lags, and we're going to see a major drop in the CPI number from in the 4s down into the 3s, and really it's probably 1.85% or 2% if they're using Truflation data. And what do you know? The expectations of 3.8%, it falls to, even with the Fed, the delayed data, 45-day lag of 3.5%. This is pricing oil around $90 to $89 per barrel. As we know, oil is below 80, still at 79 a barrel, even with Iran rearing its ugly head again. On that news, very bullish for risk on assets, because will the Fed go from hawkish to dovish? Will the Fed cut interest rates? Remember yesterday, Polymarket said there is a massive chance of them raising interest rates here in 14 days. We think that would be ludicrous, and now the inflation data is saying that would be ludicrous as well.
Well, here's why this was relatively obvious. We knew that inflation was getting dragged higher by virtue of the Iran war, oil prices, and that flowing through consumer goods, price of gas filling up the tank, blah, blah, blah. But the Iran war did end, at least temporarily. It seems like we may be back.
That's going to be the next conversation.
Yeah, we'll get to that topic in a moment, I'm sure. But at least for a month or two, the war had ended and oil prices were way down. So we're seeing that now trickle through in the inflation data. This was obvious. We talked about it a lot. We predicted it to happen. It is happening. I don't know. I mean, at some point, do the rest of the market have to just look around and go, you know what? I'm tired of being bearish. It's time to flip bullish, like Crypto Paradise Bros.
Yeah, and the question is, will inflation numbers continue to trend lower? Because remember, the ceasefire ends today at midnight. All right? Trump has said if the deal negotiation is not signed, he's very unlikely to extend the ceasefire. Now, maybe that's a negotiating tactic. I kind of hope it is. Okay? If they don't extend the ceasefire, he said there's going to be tons of bombs hitting overnight, which oil price in the market is pricing that in and has rallied from $72 a barrel up to $79 today on that news. And we will wait and see what happens. Now, can inflation keep trending lower, even though, Nick, we met your target of $67 per barrel perfectly. We filled the gap, and now we're rallying. The inflation numbers are down, but oil is rallying. Remember, the CPI data we just got at 3.5% inflation was based on June 1st data. On June 1st, oil was $95 a barrel. Right now, we are at 79. If oil, regardless of what happens with Iran the next week, if oil can stay at or below $95 per barrel, inflation is still trending down. The next inflation numbers, CPI data, will be below 3.5%, and which would continue to be dovish for risk on assets. So that is the major line in the sand. If you want to worry about, is inflation still trending lower? Is oil still below $95? That's your answer. Keep it simple, stupid. I don't know why we pay so many Fed people as much money as we do.
Bro, I got news for you. The war's back on. Or at least heavy bombing. Which, that's a war, is it not? Like, what are we, I mean, I don't know, we're going to finagle the definition of war. I guess we can, but we bombed the shit out of them the past 3 nights, dude. You gotta turn on some mainstream media.
But I'm just saying what Trump, I'm talking about what Trump is saying. That's all pitter-patter. That's what they call it. That's what they call it. Blow up a ship here and there, pitter patter. Ceasefire ends tonight. If there's no deal signed, Trump literally just said he's gonna blow him out of the water. So
yeah, let's see. I mean, look, we've seen this play out 1,000 times now with Trump. He'll go right up to the edge, threatening Armageddon, threatening 1,000,000% tariff. Whatever the case may be, and then right before it's set to happen, oh, we got a deal. We got a deal done. And the markets love it, and whatever. So we've seen this movie many times now. Can I guarantee it happens again? Absolutely not. I mean, there's, I think, a decent chance that we do a couple more, because what he just did is, I think he basically stated that he now has the right to engage in a 60-day campaign, military campaign, excursion, whatever they're calling it, just war, bombing for 60 days. At which time, after that, you have to get congressional approval, technically speaking. So, I don't know, bro. But it could also be more bombings, couple nights, and then, okay, deal back. I don't know. I think at some point,
the Iran leadership can't want a 60-day Trump full hands-on-deck campaign. 60 days full-on campaign, Iran might not exist anymore. They're
Dude, I
already
would love
so
to see.
they're already
Let's,
so
let's
depleted.
take out whatever leadership is obstructing peace and basically free passage of oil through the Strait of Hormuz. Can we just off them and then get a new batch of people that are like, all right, Hormuz is open. That's all that really matters at the end of the day. I mean, obviously, look, Iranian people, we want the regime gone for those reasons. Regime change, that's a whole different story, very hard to do. We're really just trying to get this damn Strait of Hormuz open for oil tankers and in a place where the regime is not profiting off that passage, which is what had been happening. So, but the point I think around this war is if you're in the markets, you're a trader. At some point, doesn't it sort of just become background noise like the Russia-Ukraine war?
Yeah, at some point. I mean, if the strait is open, the rest of the stuff really doesn't matter, like you said, because that's driving oil price driving inflation, inflation driving the Fed driving risk on assets. So for anybody who's an investor, that's all it comes down to is really the strait and oil price. Now,
Right.
Will there be other, oil depositories found? I know that other countries are trying to divert oil and this and that. And that's probably why we're at $79 a barrel now rather than 126, because half the market is seeing it our way. We're like, okay, some ships still get through, other oil found elsewhere, drill baby drill happening in Venezuela, United States, and other, Middle Eastern countries are making new lines, shipment lines. So it's like, okay, 79. So I think we talked about oil. $95 per barrel is the big hard line in the sand for CPI to keep going down. Okay, if in 45 days oil is still lower than 95, CPI go down, inflation go down, great. Happy, joy. The other big one, the inverse of oil, is Ethereum. At least that's what Thomas Lee said. We've been talking about Ethereum going to be an outperformer of Bitcoin. It continues to do that on these rallies, up to $1,865. But again, just a reminder for those of you who are new to the channel, this is the only line that matters. $2,036 per ETH. Get above it, bullish. Stay below it, nobody cares, not helping our bags. Okay, that's really where we're standing at. Yes, we got refound energy for Robinhood chain, which is an ETH chain. Yes, it's good to see us grinding. We're not at 1,500, we're at 1,800. But mathematically and with TA, we need to be above 2,036 to start the next bullish journey and the next bout of fun, where you're going to see us do a lot of stupid stuff on the show, do giveaways, Surf going to be mooning, altcoin opportunities, marketing, whatever. That's the line in the sand. That's where we're heading. When do you think that happens?
Sooner rather than later. All I know is I want to launch the Surf token and get it paired with ETH while ETH is below 2,000. I want to get that done like ASAP. So as ETH is pumping, we're also getting dragged up as a result of that. I want to get this Surf done launch next week. I mean, I don't, and we're working with the devs now, token smart contract, the form for pre-sale investors will be going out to the Dow group first later today. We've allocated and set aside some bit of the pre-sale for another influencers group who we're close with. She's great. And, we want her part of the journey in their community as well. So they'll be getting a little pre-sale allocation. We'll see there may be some left over for some additional influencers. Basically get that sale done. It's $30,000. I mean, this is nothing. And launch the damn token while ETH is sub 2,000. When ETH, I don't know when ETH is going to hit 2,000. I mean, dude, this is great. Like we are below prices from 5 years ago. Remember when ETH hit $2,000 like 5 years ago? I mean, I was rejoicing. I couldn't believe my eyes. And we're below that. So if you're long term in these markets, like I've been here since 2017, Nick's 2016. These are like generational buying opportunities. We're talking about the blue chips. ETH is obviously a blue chip. So I don't know when it's at 2,000. Smart money loading. Everyone should be buying if they can. And certainly, even if you can't buy, just don't sell. Who is selling their ETH right now? Who is looking around and going, I need to sell at these bottom barrel prices? Don't do that.
Yeah, I would not do that. And ever since we made the call that Ethereum would be outperforming Bitcoin, we looked at it yesterday. It was outperforming by about 62 or 63%. Now it's outperforming about 63 to 64%. I think it is the play. I am heavy into BMNR, heavy into SBT, heavy into Ethereum strategic reserve assets, heavy into Ethereum itself, heavy into Ethereum-based chains, EVM-compatible chains. I just think it's the play, and it hasn't been fun for a while, but I think it's going to be real fun sooner rather than later. Let's talk briefly about the Bitcoin chart. We talked about it at the opening show, but 63,637. Still holding good levels. Volume slightly coming in on the CPI news. We just need the Fed's help to get things rolling. We got slight green across the rest of the markets, altcoins, stocks, whatever it may be. NASDAQ still floating around the 29,500 mark, creating a high-level consolidation. We call this a pork blaster. High-level consolidation continued with upside objectives. If we break out to the upside, I do think it does finally NASDAQ mooning, helping Ethereum and Bitcoin off these levels. If we break down, it's going to look a lot like this, where we're going to have a short term, everybody's doom and gloom. We probably come back to the moving average around 27,000 on NASDAQ, and then we go towards our target of $33,000 NASDAQ, potentially by the end of 2026. That would be measured move. That would be the play. If the NASDAQ does break out to the upside here, do you think that Bitcoin and Ethereum will ever catch back up with the NASDAQ and with stocks? Remember, before the decoupling, before Bitcoin really dumping off, before Iran FUD and Terra FUD, Bitcoin and NASDAQ were almost lockstep. If that was the case right now, Bitcoin would be near its all-time high of 126, as NASDAQ is here at 29,000. Do you think Bitcoin and ETH will ever catch back up to stocks again?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we need the risk on environment. We need the liquidity conditions for that to come into force and effect. But the market still, for better or worse, views Bitcoin and Ethereum as risk-on assets. As much as we want the market to believe that Bitcoin is just like gold, the digital version of gold, it historically has traded in alignment with tech stocks to a much greater degree than it has trading lockstep with gold. That's just a fact. That may change with Bitcoin in the future. It is a better version of gold in my estimation, but it's viewed as a tech stock by the market, and Ethereum even more so, right? And that kind of makes sense. Ethereum is like the operating system of Web3. It is a tech play, fundamentally, right? So I do think we will catch up. We need liquidity conditions. We need risk on. Think about, when was the last time we had a massive bull run? It was when the Fed dropped rates to freaking near zero and printed $3 trillion. Now, that's not going to happen again. That was in response to COVID, so I'm not predicting another, it's called a white swan event. But eventually, the Fed does need to cut the rates. We need to refinance our debt. We need to fix the housing market, which is absolutely in shambles in the U.S. No one can afford a home. We need to get rates lower, and they will eventually happen. That will happen. And then our risk assets will go insane and parabolic for, 6, 12 months. That glorious moment in time. And I'm sure we'll round trip half our shit. And we'll see you on the bear market in another couple of years.
Yeah, and talking about gold price still floating around my target. Remember, my target was $3,999. We're at $4,079. Unfathomable for all the bulls. Like Peter Schiff, when we were at 5,500, they said gold will never drop again. I said 5 waves down to 4,000 is coming. That's where we're at. Now, the one thing that hasn't happened yet is typically on a 45-day lag is Bitcoin to gold price. And right now that hasn't happened. So with gold revisiting the 4,000 mark, not once, not twice, but now 3 times, are we ever going to see a liquidity shifting from gold to Bitcoin like we have seen in the past? Or is the liquidity shift from gold to AI stocks or gold to other plays in the stock market just where it's going to be? I think some is going to find its way to Bitcoin, but man, 5,600 down to 4,000 target, and Bitcoin still hasn't got much help.
Yeah. The great rotation of gold to Bitcoin was a cool story, but didn't really play out this time around, it seems. I think gold driven a lot by nation states. That's who was buying up the gold. They were selling U.S. treasuries because, F America. Donald Trump is, imposing tariffs. I don't like this guy. Sell the treasuries, buy gold. That's like what China's done. And many other countries have been doing that for the past few years. If you look at the holdings of U.S. treasuries around the world, they're like at the lowest point they've been in a long, long time. And then they were using that money to buy up gold. So gold to me was never really a retail thing. Retail only got involved when it hit like 5,000. Retail loves buying the top of stuff. So I ain't worried about gold. I don't own any of it. I'm all in, man, on my risk assets. My QQQ has outperformed my Bitcoin and ETH by orders of magnitude. So that was kind of cool. I was hoping, Nick, you could pull up the chart of Hood, though. We are obviously now, we're Robinhood maxis, guys. So we should probably buy some Hood stock and start following what Vlad is doing and reporting back to the followers. Our analysis and our take. You're going to have to sell your Coinbase, I think, Nick, and buy some Hood.
No. Well, we always are willing to trade Coinbase. We traded it like 13 times. Right now is the first time we've taken an entry and we're currently down on it. Do I think we lose on it in the end? No, I don't, because Bitcoin or ETH goes up, it's going to go up. But we are willing to trade it. That's for sure. So Will Hood, but the
Look
new
at
one we're
that
looking
chart,
at, I mean,
dude.
that thing has done very well since March 2024. This is the same kind of market pattern that a lot of these crypto-related companies have seen. But the thing is, Hood has now revitalized and come back up closer to all-time highs, while you still have MicroStrategy and Coinbase are sitting relatively somewhere right around here. So you have all the strategic reserves are still sitting down here, not bouncing, while Hood, with its surge of the Hood chain, public markets like it, currently up here at 111, outperforming all the other crypto-related stocks for the time being.
Yeah, tremendous chart there. Testament to what Vlad and his team have been able to do with Robinhood. With Robinhood, I think the big difference, because people are like, we're looking at Coinbase and wondering what went wrong. How is Robin outperforming? I saw a great take the other day, and it was sort of coming down to innovation and risk taking. Robinhood is still willing to be out at the forefront of trends, push the envelope a little bit. Unique, exotic products that they themselves are sort of innovating on. Coinbase, on the other hand, more now, okay, yes, they're relying on, they make a lot of money from their exchange business, their core business. But then a lot of the rest of it is sort of wait and see what's popular and then either acquire the company that built that thing or make their own version of a copycat version of it. Not a ton of innovation compared to Robinhood. So that was the take that I saw. I'm not an expert on Robinhood yet. We are going deep on Robinhood, guys. And by the way, if you're watching the show, or if you know anyone within the Robinhood community, at the Robinhood company, maybe just a meme coin trader that also loves Robinhood, hit them up. Let them know that we are inviting guests onto the stream. We're making Crypto Paradise great again, guys. We're going to have guests on. The retreats are coming back. They are going to be a thing. I just got hit up by my friend Evan Luthra, who also has a villa. He has a villa in Tulum. I just have a mere condo. But looks like we're going to collaborate with our boy Evan Luthra around the relaunch of Surf on Robinhood. We're cooking, guys, but we need your help. I don't want people in the community, especially those who have gotten the airdrop, free money, to be doing nothing to help us. We need your help. And by help, I mean it could be as simple as just liking a tweet. I'm not asking for much, folks.
Sharing the YouTube, hitting the follow button, little things. Yeah. Understand that the algorithm picks up your like and likes it. It likes your retweet even more, and it likes your comment the most. You can do all three of those things in the mere matter of 2 minutes, and you are literally going to pump your own bags because you are going to get more opportunities here at Crypto Paradise. You're going to get more revenue from Crypto Paradise that goes towards Surf token. You're going to keep us in the game looking for these opportunities where every cycle. Do we round trip some stuff? Yes. Do we get involved with some stuff that rugs? Rarely the rug. But we find 10x's, 100x's, 50x's, and that is because of the following we have, because of you guys. When you guys get hyped and active, it all trickles down. So understand that a simple like, retweet, and a comment goes a long way. Whether you have 1 follower, 100 followers, or 100,000 followers, the algorithm likes it all the same.
The virtual audience loves that spiel too, by the way. Hopefully the real audience took to it. But yeah, I was having this discussion with one of our DAO members. We were kind of going back and forth on stuff, and I was like, bro, like, do you not understand the business that we're in yet? We're in the attention business, right? We're in the more attention we get, the more opportunities you guys get, and also allows us to put food on our tables. Think about my kids. I got 2 kids, guys. They got to eat. It's been the summer of burgers. I haven't even bought any steaks this summer, guys. It's been rough out here for Crypto Amaru's family. So we need your help. Like, retweet, comment, tell a friend. It's not rocket science, folks. Think about the kids.
And even in the doldrums, we've been finding some opportunities. Before we get to that opportunity, shout out to Moonmutt, let's go. Martin Max King says, hood morning. Louie Lullaby says, good morning, surfers. AJ West saying, good morning. And we got Operations Shutdown 1. Very bullish for risk on assets when we were talking about CPI and oil prices. Generational buying opportunities when we were talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum. And making crypto paradise great again. Here's someone who's probably caught our 5Xs, 10Xs, 100Xs, and probably some of the round trips as well. But it was fun. You make some money, and we got to do it again because this is a cyclical market in which we live called risk on assets, whether that's collectibles, trading card games, crypto, and everything else we talk about. Everything is in cycles, and you can't win on everything. You just got to win more than you lose. And even in the cycle, we're picking lows. Strategy, the stretch token, continues to go higher, giving you a buy at 71.40 right before, 2 days before, you get a 47.9-cent dividend per share. Congratulations to those of you who bought, up 23.5% in the past 13 days. And yes, tomorrow you will be getting that 48-cent per share dividend and locking yourself in to get a 50-cent per share dividend by the end of July. Isn't that nice? You buy an asset that people are literally all the Wolf of Wall Streets, all these guys, they're in it for the entertainment too, but they're talking about, oh, it's stretch broken, it's going to zero. We're buying. We're making 23% gains on something that's really supposed to be pegged to $100, and we're making huge dividend payments every 2 weeks now. And I guess Sailor saw our buy because less than 24 hours after we gave the buy, he made that nice little announcement that said, hey, loyal holders, I'm going to give you another 2 cents per share on dividends moving forward. We want to incentivize you to buy and hold even more.
Isn't it amazing what a week can do? What 2 weeks can do in these markets? 2 weeks ago it was, is strategy going to get liquidated? Is Bitcoin going to zero? Is stretch going to zero? The lawsuits are coming. Here come the lawyers. Where are the bears now, guys? Where are the voices now of it's going to zero and let's break out the lawsuits and let's, Bitcoin is going to crash and go to zero because Michael said, wait, Peter Schiff. Bro. Where are you, bro? Right. The same thing that happens when Bitcoin crashes, that happened every other time in its history, has happened again, which is it rebounded. It's never not hit all-time highs again, guys. This asset is resilient as fuck. The Bears, man, don't get me started on the Bears. Don't get me started on the Bears. If you're bearish, we actually don't want you to like the stream. Okay? Don't press the like button if you're bearish.
Don't listen to him. Press the like. Press it. Argue with us. Do something. Hey, attention. But why did I mark this one? That is because where we're at currently, some people are like, oh, I'm late. Look, guys, stretch is still a long-term game. If you have belief in Bitcoin, you have belief in their structure to get a 12% dividend yield. Okay, it's a long-term game. You get it on bi-weekly. You can compound it into stretch. You can take it in cash. You can take it out and put it to Robinhood, buy, surf. Do whatever you want. So it ultimately shouldn't be looked at as a trade. It should be looked at long-term. But you're still able to buy here at $88.37. And remember, par value is $100. I don't even take it to 100 because I believe when a par value is 100, you're looking at $98 to $99 because traders will be selling out knowing the upside is almost here. That's still 11.58% higher. So you could buy now, right at 11.58% higher to get to par. But again, earn that 12% dividend yield that you can do what you want. So are you late for our trade? Sure. Do you still have another 11.5% upside to even get close to par? Yes. Did they increase their dividend? Yes. Did they increase the payment period? Instead of monthly, it's bi-weekly? Yes. Do you believe in Bitcoin? If you're watching the show, probably. So I still think stretch is a good play. If we do see other dips, subsequent dips, a dip that would make sense would be back to the $79 level, which was the starting point here and the support here. What gets us to the $79 level? Probably another panic scare out of Bitcoin, because remember now MicroStrategy has over $3 billion in cash. So it's not going to be something going wrong with strategy itself. It's going to be a black swan if Bitcoin indeed does dump again and go below that $58,000 mark. Otherwise, I think buy stretch, look at the upside on the par price, but also just look for the long-term gains on the dividends.
Yeah, man. To me, Stretch is a product that you buy to get the yield. You shouldn't really worry too much about the volatility. Timing your initial buy is great, but I don't think it's an asset really. It's meant to be traded. Hodl it, earn the income, earn the yield. It's 12% now, better than you're going to get almost anywhere else in the stock market, of course. And then maybe take some of those dividends, full port them over into crypto, get them on a Robinhood chain, buy yourself a bag of surf at 75K FTV and do yourself a 10 or 20 times.
Yeah, and what's wild too is we were talking about BMNR and SBT. They're both up 10% today, with Ethereum still below $1,800. Ethereum went up 1%. They went up 10.
Ethereum's over 18.
Right, 1900 went up a couple $100, and SBT and Bitminer are up 10% because they are so oversold. Their value now is less than what the value of the ETH is, even with it below $2,000. Those things could be explosive, and I hope they are, because when they're exploding to the upside, that means they're buying more ETH, and that's what we want to see. That's how we get ETH back above $5,000. We have one more news piece here before we probably wrap up the show. More of a global macro thing. The country where it all started, one of the most powerful countries ever in the history of mankind, that is now a cesspool of who knows, no culture, third world culture, is doing something good for our bags. The UK adopts no gain, no loss tax rules for crypto lending and liquidity pools. Starting April 6, 2027, users will generally not owe capital gains tax simply for depositing crypto into eligible DeFi arrangements. Tax will instead apply when users actually make an economic gain or loss. The change is expected to affect 700,000 people. It seems like that is common sense to me. Remember, what UK is reversing is what Kamala Harris was wanting to put in place on her stock and crypto portfolio.
Yeah, I wanted to share this story because, look, we bang on the UK a lot. we like to make fun of England and the UK quite a bit on this show, but it's all love. I actually love English culture, dude.
It's just sad that it's disappearing, and that's why we bang on it.
I mean, I'm an Anglophile. I love it since I was a kid. Knights in shining armor, castles, princesses, dragons, sword in the stone. All of it, man. All of it is amazing. Frickin' Lord of the Rings. I think that guy was British, right? Any event, the problem is it's all changing. And it got taken over by wokeness and lefties and people who don't assimilate particularly well. That's why we bang on it. But, I mean, I love the UK. I love London in theory. I haven't been there in like 10 years. Last time I went, it was nice. I hear it's kind of declined a bit. But I got a great friend who lives there. Phil from Mellow Man. The accents. I love your guys' accents. I'm rooting for the English national team in the UK, in the World Cup, excuse me. But the crypto policies in the past 4 or 5 years have been absolutely terrible. So this is a massive breath of fresh air to me. It's like, whoa, is there a new leadership over there? Or is the House of Commons come to their senses on regulations? Like, what is going on? I mean, this is great. This is like a tremendous positive, because we had seen it trending in the wrong direction. And this is really across all of Europe. Overregulation, overtaxing, too much surveillance. Can't, own crypto. You have to, I own $10,000 of crypto. Report it to the government. All this madness. And now look at this. Actually a positive policy coming out of the UK Parliament. Amazing stuff.
There you go. We got Martin Max King saying you have to visit Poland then. We have lots of castle. People say it's like a fairy tale. Yeah, I mean, in Poland too, remember, they're very, I don't know what the term to use is. CNN would use the word MAGA, because they are one of the very few European countries that said no. Fuck the immigration policies. Fuck the woke policies. I was elected. I have a mandate to protect our people and our culture. I don't care about the other people out there. And then when there's still invaders trying to get across the border, they literally created a law that you can be shot on sight if you cross the border. Now, some people would say that's too strict, too stringent. Oh my gosh. Well, that's the rule. That's the law. Go to the neighbor next door if you want to break the law and go across the border. It is what it is. Taking somebody's life for that, maybe not worth it. But if you lay down the foot strong, people will go next door in Europe and cross somebody else's border. So, Poland, we can see some castles there, Crypto Amaru. Poland, the new UK? I don't know. We'll
Dude,
see.
I'm bullish on Poland, man. I'm super bullish on Poland. yes, the immigration policy, but also their economy has done tremendously well. If you look at the trajectory of their economy, and I think it's probably all connected, really, to the government and the immigration policy and the economic policy. So they've done tremendously well.
Japan's been, the new prime minister getting very, very strong on those policies. And the thing is, if you look around the world, what makes, history, travel, everything is just such unique culture, distinct culture. Europe is very distinct from Africa, which is very distinct from Japan, which is very distinct from China, which is very distinct from New Zealand. And America was kind of the melting pot, but we had our culture of you love this country, you're patriotic, and you have pride in this culture. And now all around the world, they want to make it all a mesh collection and pot. But really, the good isn't what's floating to the top. It's the bad. It's the third world country. It's the fucking homelessness. It's the woke ideology. And it's rooting that culture. I have no incentive to go to Europe again. I've gone to Malta. I've gone to Italy. Now I'm just like, with what's going on there, the culture is not even existing. And you're harassed by homeless people and Africans trying to sell you little gimmick toys and shit. It's all scammers. I'll just go to the beach. That's what I've been in the past 5 years, is just beach mode. And it's very unfortunate. I want that culture to come back. I'm going to be heading to Japan because new prime minister is really cracking down. That place has its culture. And that's what makes every human unique, is the culture of the country they live in. And the New World Order just wants to make it all just a massive melting pot around the globe. And that just doesn't work.
Yeah, I think we're finally seeing a backlash against kind of that globalism. People recognizing that, hey, there is value in unique cultures. Like, we want to preserve that. We don't want everyone to be exactly the same. We want everyone to live in harmony and peace, but we don't need to be exactly the same food and art and, style of clothes, all that stuff. So, yeah, I think there's a resurgence in nationalism. You obviously don't want it to peter too far in that direction, because then you end up with, World War III or whatever, but I don't think that's happening. It's a good time to be alive. It's a good time to be a human being on planet Earth. But yeah, I don't have any intention of going back to Europe either. But that's mostly because I just want to go back to my condo in Tulum all the time, relax on the beach, and record Crypto Paradise content for you guys.
There we go. That's really all the news pieces. If you guys have any other charts you want us to look at, we went over Bitcoin, Ethereum, oil, Stretch, Hood. The list goes on. The biggest news is really to stay in the loop. If you own Surf on Pulse Chain, fill out the form to get your free airdrop. If you don't own Surf on Pulse Chain, try to get in the pre-sale. If you can't get in the pre-sale because it's only $30,000, which is peanuts, and that's going to be used for marketing, liquidity, etc., then you probably want to have some liquidity on Robinhood to buy it, because the launch is only at 75 FTV. 75K FTV for a real docs team, a real meme, and then real utility, from having 200,000 to be in the DAO group, when the DAO group gives a lot of opportunities when the market is better, to buybacks and burns from revenue that Crypto Paradise has. When the bull market is there, that is bigger and better than ever. Our affiliation with the Pools Launchpad. More Launchpad products mean more marketing, more revenue. Portion of that will go towards pumping the surf bag as well. So we saw this in place when we had that finite window of Pulse Chain going up. Ethereum was doing okay. Crypto Paradise doing that thing, running Surf token from 11,000 market cap to $4 million market cap plus incentives. Can we strike gold again and run it even higher than that on Robinhood with Ethereum near its lows?
Yeah, man, I'm super pumped. I'm just getting DMs from people wanting to get in the pre-sale. I mean, it just feels good to have kind of product market fit. And it feels like now on Robinhood chain, the Crypto Paradise brand, the Surf token, has more product market fit. People like the brand. I think they like the streams. I think they like the content, the educational side. It's fun. It's retail friendly. You guys get to go on free trips with us if you get yourself in the DAO. I mean, what's there not to like? And now we're going to be on the hottest chain with the liquidity, with the whales, with the volume, and be one of the only docs teams out there. So I mean, dude, I might just invest into half of the raise. I might just grab half of that. I'm just kidding. No, we need good token distribution. That is important, by the way. That is very important. We want a lot of holders. We want some whales, some smaller guys. We love everybody. So yeah, we got to get back to the grind here. A lot of work to do over the next week to get the launch fully prepped. But great stream today. Thank you everyone for joining. Remember to like, share, subscribe. And until tomorrow, guys.